everybody. Welcome to study number 1 in the book of Job in our Search the Scriptures study. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far today. My day's not going too great. I hurt my back yesterday and a lot of pain. But I'm really thankful today to be doing study number 1 in Job. If my calculations are correct, this is halfway through our 3-year study through the Bible called Search the Scriptures. Today we're going to cover 3 chapters from Job chapter 1 through chapter number 3. Answer 2 easy questions today. Number 1, what is said here about Job's character, his position in life and sufferings? And in chapter 2 verse 10, Job expresses his faith in God. Chapter 3 verse 11, he wants to die. And then by the end of chapter 3, he is blaming God for his troubles. How can we account for this change? Well, if you have a Bible, open it up to the book of Job, and we'll look at the first 3 chapters together. If you don't have a Bible, the words will be on the screen. Let's listen to Job chapter 1 through Job chapter 3 together.
The book of Job, chapter 1. In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. The man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His sons used to take turns holding feasts in their homes, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would send and have them purified. Early in the morning he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, "Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." This was Job's regular custom. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From roaming the earth and going back and forth in it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." "Does Job fear God for nothing?" Satan replied, "Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." The Lord said to Satan, "Very well then. Everything he has is in your hands, but on the man himself do not lay a finger." Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. One day, when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, a messenger came to Job and said, "The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabaeans attacked and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, "The fire of God fell from the sky and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties, and swept down on your camels and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, "Your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them, and they are dead. And I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." At this, Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head. Then he fell to the ground in worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Job 2. On another the day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan also came with them to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, Where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, From roaming through the earth and going back and forth in it. Then the Lord said to Satan, Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. Skin for skin, Satan replied. A man will give all he has for his own life. But stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, Very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery, and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. He replied, You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God, and not trouble? In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. When Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their homes, and met together by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him, because they saw how great his suffering was. Job 3. After this Job opened his mouth, and cursed the day of his birth. He said, May the day of my birth perish, and the night it was said, A boy is born. That day may it turn to darkness, may God above not care about it, may no light shine upon it, may darkness and deep shadow claim it once more, may a cloud settle over it, may blackness overwhelm its light. That night may thick darkness seize it, may it not be included among the days of the year, nor be entered in any of the months. May that night be barren, may no shout of joy be heard in it. May those who curse days curse that day, those who are ready to rouse the Leviathan. May its morning stars become dark. May it wait for daylight in vain, and not see the first rays of dawn. For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Why were there knees to receive me and breasts that I might be nursed? For now I would be lying down in peace. I would be asleep and at rest with kings and counselors of the earth, who built for themselves places now lying in ruins, with rulers who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not hidden in the ground like a stillborn child, like an infant who never saw the light of day? There the wicked cease from turmoil, and there the weary are at rest. Captives also enjoy their ease. They no longer hear the slave drivers shout. The small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is light given to those in misery, and life to the bitter of soul, to those who long for death that does not come, who search for it more than for hidden treasure, who are filled with gladness and rejoice when they reach the grave? Why is life given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For sighing comes to me instead of food. My groans pour out like water. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil.
Now to the questions. First of all, my backache doesn't seem nearly as bad as Job's problems. What is said here about Job's character, his position in life, and sufferings? Job was extremely wealthy, and he was a person of extreme integrity. He was a man that interceded for others, interceded for his family. He took his righteous relationship with God very, very seriously. And the quick and devastated manner in which suffering came upon him and the way that he endured that suffering is hard to imagine. He definitely was a man of integrity that had a strong relationship with the Lord. Question number 2, in 2:10, Job expresses his faith in God, and by 3:11 he wants to die, and by 3:23 he blames God for his troubles. How do we account for this change? Well, I think that it'd be next to impossible to imagine what Job was going through on an emotional level. The tremendous devastation that he'd endured with his family, that was bad enough, but now he had the added physical burdens of his own body that were zapping him of all his physical, mental, and emotional strength. I can say right now I'm not covered with boils, but just this pain in my back makes it difficult to even think. And I can't imagine having a family crisis as Job had all on top of this, and devastating financial crises and everything else all mounting up. It was obviously becoming overwhelming to him. I hope you're having a better day than Job. I hope you're having a better day than my back is having today. Trust this has been a blessing to you. Hang in there for another year and a half, and we'll be all the way through the entire Bible in our Search the Scriptures study. Hope you're having a great day so far. May God richly bless the rest of your day.